Hello everyone, welcome to Introduction to Photoshop, the first module in the Photoshop Essentials series. My name is Ambry, the digital design guru, and today we are going to dive into our first module. So the objective of this module is by the end of the lesson, so by the end of this module, you'll be able to navigate the Photoshop interface, set up your workspace efficiently, and ultimately utilize basic navigation and shortcuts to streamline your creative process. So we're going to learn the foundation of the workspace of Photoshop, getting you comfortable with using the software, setting up your workspace to whatever project field that you're working in so it works best for you. Okay, so without further ado, the agenda for this particular module, it's going to be only 30 to 40 minutes, really quick. I'm going to give you the main basic keys just to get you started. We're going to start off with that introduction, which we've already done. I'm going to dive into my lecture, just kind of give you a brief demonstration, talking about some key points. We'll do a little practice activity and just give you guys an opportunity to reflect on everything that you've learned thus far. Ask any questions if you have any questions, and then we'll conclude the entire module. So that's our agenda for today. So in this particular lecture, I'll be talking about an overview of the Photoshop interface and tools, basically just the basics. We're not going to go into depth about anything in particular in regards to tools because there's so many tools. I just want to give you just the basics, the essentials, setting up your workspace, and basic navigation and shortcuts. So those are the main points of today's lecture. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I've already opened up Photoshop here. I have my Photoshop open and launch. If you are looking for it, remember you want to look for our icon. It's the PS icon, the Photoshop icon here. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to the beginning. So once I open up my Photoshop workspace, my Photoshop software, it's going to take me here. It's going to launch this here. So this is my home area. Okay, so in your home area, you're going to see a lot of very important information. You'll see your recent files, anything that you've worked on recently that you saved in your cloud. And also really important, which I think will be really useful for beginners, is this learn function here. So Adobe gives you like in stock learn functions inside of the software. So it gives you like little short mini tutorials regarding particular functions, tools, and techniques. Super useful if you're learning or trying to learn to do something in particular. You can use some of these tutorials to kind of help you out a little bit. And they're really good for practice and exercise. I often use these tutorials in the classroom when I'm teaching my students. If I have a student who might be struggling, or maybe behind, or just kind of maybe they're advancing and they need some extra work, I'll give them a tutorial. I'll let them pick the tutorial that they want to explore, and really useful information. You can also access your files, any work that you're sharing with. So if you're working on a team project, you can access Lightroom, which is another Adobe software. And then that's it. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to kind of show you those main functions on your workspace, how to basically create a new document. So to create a new document in Photoshop, it's really easy, and there are 3 ways that you can do it. You can go in your menu bar here. We call this our menu bar. And you can click on File and New to create that new document. You can also use your shortcut keys, which it tells you that shortcut key right here. So I'm on a Mac, so mine might look a little bit different if you're using a window, but use those shortcut keys to kind of help you work a little bit more efficiently. So that's 2 ways that you can do it. Another way is new file. So those are 3 ways that you can open up and create a new document. Now, say you want to open an existing document. You can go to open here to open up an existing document, or you can click on file up top to open up that existing document as well. So there's 2 ways that you can do that. We're just going to create a new file today, just a new blank spreadsheet. And I'm just going to click on default Photoshop size and create. And I'm not going to go into much details about new documents. I'll do a little, I'll be posting a quick video tutorial on the new document on that particular panel. So don't worry, we'll get you that information. So here is my workspace here. So here's that workspace. So in your workspace, again, you have that menu, and you also have what we call panels. These little boxes here, these different little settings, these are called your panels. And then of course you have your tools on the left-hand side, okay? Really important, in your tool section here, Photoshop gives you so many different tools. I mean, it'll be hard to kind of keep all those tools visible. So if you're looking for any additional tools, it can be hidden under another tool, which you can find by hovering over a tool and right clicking. It'll show you those tools that are hidden underneath. Right clicking and show you those tools that's hidden underneath. Now, if you kind of really don't know where to find those tools at all, just try to think about what the tool does. They try to cluster those like tools together. So anything pertaining to like drawing, see, I have my brush, my pencil, color replacement, anything pertaining to like erasing, those different erasing options. And you can also go down to these three little dots here, right click it, and it'll show you all those tools that you have available in Photoshop. Now, once you click on a tool, this bar right here is called your options bar, or sometimes I like to call your settings bar. This is your settings. This is your settings or options for whatever tool you have selected. So if you notice here, I have my brush tool selected. It gives me those settings for my brush tool. So the different options that I have for my brush tool. If I were to click on another tool, here is my type tool here. It gives me the settings for my type tool. Okay. Little tip, if you hover over a tool, if you haven't noticed, it kind of gives you like a quick little tutorial details about what that tool does. You can watch a quick video. It also tells you the shortcut key for those tools as well. So if you notice here, that shortcut key would be the G. Shortcut key here would be the T. So it kind of gives you those shortcuts. So those are the basics of your workspace. Just knowing those menus, that menu bar here, taking some time, if whenever you get some free time, just to kind of click around to see what's in those menu bar, your option bar here, and your tools bar, as well as your panels. Those are your essential components of your Photoshop workspace here. Okay. I want to kind of briefly just show you some common tools that are used in Photoshop, some essential ones just to kind of get you started. And I'm just going to touch on just three of them just to get you started. The first one is the Move tool. So your Move tool is located up top here, and it looks like a little X cross, and it'll tell you Move tool. Your Move tool, and let me see, allows you to move objects around. It also allows you to resize and rotate. Now, if you have not used Photoshop before, your software before, this is your first time you've purchased it, you've downloaded, and it's the first time you're launching, and you click on this Move tool, and you're wondering, where are these little blue lines? We call these our transform controls. You're probably trying to resize something, twist it around, and you don't know where it is. Super easy. In your option bar here, I want you to look for something that's called Show Transform Controls. Mine is already clicked, but if I did not, then I wouldn't be able to see those Show Transform Controls to resize. Now, if you're using a different version of Photoshop, it might not say Show Transform Control. It might be a different icon, and it looks kind of like a box, but it's definitely next to this word layer. If you hover over the box or hover over different areas, it'll tell you exactly what it is if you hover over it long enough. So here I'm hovering over it. It's telling me Show Transform Controls on the selected layer. Once you've clicked that one time, it's going to automatically save that setting in your software. So you don't have to go back or constantly have to make sure that's checked. It's going to, once you do it one time, it'll save it. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and do that just to kind of save yourself some future headaches in the future. Okay. So the next one that I want to show you is the type tool if you're creating some type of text. So with the type tool, I want you to right click it. It shows you a few different type tool settings or type tools that you can use. You can do horizontal or vertical. If you're using a different version, it gives you some other type tool settings as well. Super easy to use a type tool by just clicking on your canvas. We call this here your little paper, your canvas. It'll pop up here and it'll be highlighted. So you want to make sure if you're doing any type of edits, you want to always highlight so you can replace the text. You can do any edits, resizing if you want to change the color or size. I will go to my option bar here, the setting for my tool. I can change like my font. I can change the size if I wanted to. I can change the alignment, color, if I wanted to change the color. So many different things that I can do. Now, later on in the course, I'm going to dive into further about typography, some extra settings, because there's so much that you can do with text, but just to kind of give you the basics, those are the basic settings for your type tool. And again, if I wanted to move my word around, I can click on that move tool. I can move this text around, and I can also resize it too if I wanted to resize it. And to confirm, I don't think I've mentioned this, to confirm what you've done, you hit that check mark. If you didn't want to confirm it, you can hit that X. I like it big though, so I'm gonna hit that check. I'm good with it. Okay. The next tool I want to show you is the brush tool, which is another basic tool that's commonly used in Photoshop, one of those essentials. And so your brush tool looks just like a paintbrush. I'm gonna click on that brush tool. And then notice, of course, my settings for my brush tool pops here. So if I click on this arrow here, it'll give me some additional settings in regards to size of my paintbrush, hardness. You have different paintbrush types. If you want it to be a little bit more airbrushed, you can kind of choose the brush style that you like. I'm going to click on a few just to kind of show you the difference. There's one. And I'll do one more so you can kind of see. Okay. Now, taking a moment to kind of play with some of these settings, you can adjust like the flow, how hard you want your brush to be. So like that hardness, it's kind of a little bit softer, just to kind of give you the effect that you want. Now, say you want to change the color of your paintbrush. It's really easy to do. To do so, you can actually come down here in this little section here. We call this our foreground color, and then this is our background color. So right now my foreground color is this brown color. Say I wanted to just be white. Actually, let's do black. I can change that color there. I can also click on this and it'll give me a new color as well. So there are a few different ways to change your colors, but that's like a really basic way to do it to get you started. You can also go to your color, which is usually located on the right hand side here, and you can change that color here. You have your swatches if you want to use a swatch, and then gradients. Now, if you cannot find some of your panels, they went missing, maybe you've closed them out, maybe your workspace just looks different from mine. If you go to Windows here are all your panels that are located in Photoshop. So if you're looking for a particular panel, you want to kind of come here to see, one, if it's checked. If it's checked, that means it's visible. If it's not, it's not visible. So say, for instance, I click color. It brought out my colors panel. Okay. Now with your panels, you have the option to move things around, You can shrink sizes if you like. You can dock them by dragging, and you see that little blue line, docking them. You can arrange your workspace however you see fit. I'm gonna take a little moment and pause. Take a moment and just kind of explore a little bit, exploring some of those tools, that move tool, that brush tool, text tool, and as well as that menu and option bar. And we'll come back and we'll talk about setting up your workspace. Alrighty, so next we're going to talk about setting up your workspace. And I'm going to demonstrate how to customize your workspace by rearranging panels and saving your workspace, okay? So your workspace is this area. It's the space in Photoshop that you're going to be working in. And so just like I mentioned earlier, you can rearrange these panels however you see fit. Everyone's different. You may like your tools panel to be on the right-hand side as opposed to the left-hand side. You might like it to be just freestanding. And you can customize your workspace however you see fit. So being able to rearrange these panels are one way that you can customize that space. If you go all the way to the top, I want you to look for this icon here. This is called Choose Your Workspace. We're going to click on that. Ooh, I didn't mean to click on that. So here it gives you some preset workspaces that kind of get you started. So if you're working on something in regards to photography, it gives you like panels that you'll commonly use for photography. If you're working for something graphic web, it'll give you those common panels you use for graphic web. Painting, it'll give you those panels you use for painting. You can also create your own new workspace. So I've created my own special workspace here. I like panels to be set up a certain way. So I created my own new special workspace. And to do that, you just click on New Workspace, name it, and hit Save. Now, you have to make sure that before you click on New Workspace that you have your workspace set up in the way that you want. So say I don't know, we'll just do something crazy. We'll just scatter everything out. Say I like my workspace like this. And that's how I like to work. I want it like this, right? If I click on that workspace function, new workspace, we'll call it crazy workspace. Hit save. All right, so I saved my crazy workspace. Now let's go back to essentials. So this is essentials. I want my crazy workspace. So I'm gonna go back, crazy workspace. There's my crazy workspace. Customizing your workspace is just really good to know how to do to help you work faster and more efficiently. And it saves you just a lot of frustration because you know where everything is, and it works best for you. So just kind of knowing that function helps. Also, if you are working and everything's all mixed up, move some stuff around, being able to come back here and just resetting it just kind of helps put everything back into place as well. Okay. So next, I just want to kind of show you guys those shortcut keys. We're going to wrap it up with using shortcut keys. Some main shortcut keys that I commonly use, and how to find those shortcut keys. So shortcut keys are keyboard shortcut keys that you're going to use just to kind of, again, help you work a little bit more efficiently. And so a lot of times your shortcut keys, if you go to that menu bar again, it'll tell you what the shortcut key is for that particular option or function or whatever it is that you're trying to do. It'll tell you that shortcut key. And then a lot of times your tools as well will tell you what that shortcut key is as well. So you see here, my shortcut key is M. Now, some shortcut keys that I commonly use, and I'll type them here. I commonly use the zoom in, zoom out shortcut key to zoom in and out of my screen. So Control plus minus to zoom out, and then control, let me make this bigger, plus to zoom in. And I'm gonna move that so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right. So control on your keyboard plus the minus side, and I'll do it with you guys, helps you zoom out of your canvas, and then control plus helps you zoom in. And of course, you can always use your zoom tool, which is located here, and it looks like a magnifying glass. You can also use that zoom tool as well to zoom in out. Your settings for your zoom tool up top, zoom in and out. If you just want to fit the whole thing on the screen, there you go. If you want to fill the screen, I mean, there's a few different ways, but I just wanted to show you those shortcuts. I commonly use the new document shortcut key to create my new documents. Once we get into layers, I use my layers shortcut key, which is F7 to pop up my layers, but definitely the zoom tool is one that I use quite frequently to zoom in and out of my screen. Alrighty, guys. So that's it for today. I just kind of touched on just some basics just to get you started. We kind of talked about the overview of the Photoshop workspace. We talked about that menu bar to get you started. Remember, take some time just to kind of click around that menu bar, just to kind of familiarize yourself with what's located in those menu bars. And as we progress through the module, we're going to continue to explore each one of these a little bit more. We talked about your option bar, which gives you the options for whatever tools you have selected. And then, of course, you have a plethora of panels within Photoshop. Remember, to access any type of panels, if you cannot find it, you want to go to Window up top. And here are all of your different panels that you're going to work with. Again, we're going to continue to explore these different panels, but just to get you started and familiarized, here is those panels. We talked about your workspace, so setting your workspace, customizing your workspace to whatever works best for you. So remember that choose workspace function is right here up top. You can also, if you haven't noticed, you can access it here. So there are two ways that you can do it. So you can do it there or there. And we talked about a few basic tools. So the move tool, which is one that you're going to use quite often. Remember, and I have my screen locked. Remember, if you have that move tool selected, you want to make sure you have your show transform control selected in order to resize your asset or image or whatever you're trying to resize. We talked about the paintbrush. We're going to explore the paintbrush a little bit later in the module. We talked about the text, and we talked about the zoom tool. So being able to zoom in and out of your screen, using those shortcut keys to zoom in and out of your screen, just to kind of get you started in Photoshop Essentials here. Okay. I hope that was helpful. I do have a little activity that I want you guys to explore a little bit and just practice opening up some sample images. Practicing navigating the image using the zoom and hand tool and applying some shortcut keys when needed. Rearranging your panels to create a customized workspace. And I want you to take a screenshot of your custom workspace and share it in the course community group. Okay? Just so we can kind of collaborate and help each other. Maybe you've customized your workspace in a way that might be helpful for someone else. So just take a moment and really engage in these activities. If you want to stick around, I'll do some of these with you guys. Opening a sample image and practicing zooming in and out. So if you're going to hang out. If not, see you in the next module.